Hey everyone, welcome to Yoga with Nazareth. Today I want to share a tip for you in increasing hamstring mobility. It's an area that can be pretty tight for most people, and most commonly students will come to me and ask how can they become more flexible, how can they stretch the hamstrings. And often my response shocks them because a healthy muscle is one that can both contract and relax. And that means it's functioning optimally. If your muscle is constantly tight, it can be for a few reasons, but one of the main reasons is that muscle is actually weak. So your body kind of sends a signal to that muscle to say, hey, I don't trust you to lengthen and stretch, especially when bearing load. So therefore, I'm going to tighten up for you to protect the body. And we want to train the body to know that that's not the case and that you are in fact quite strong and capable. So what I want you to do is grab a yoga block. If you don't have one, you can use a book, but these are so inexpensive anymore. I highly recommend just going out and buying a pair. We're going to place the block between our thighs, okay, just below the groin area, and I want your feet to be about hips distance apart, okay? And just take a second, maybe rock back and forth on the feet. Relax your shoulders, relax your arms, and if you can, close your eyes or keep your gaze very, very soft. And I want you to start to bring some awareness to the outer edges of the feet. And without actually moving the feet, I want you to imagine that you can energetically begin to pull the feet, the outer edges of the feet, back in space towards the back edge of maybe your mat or the wall behind you. And then you're going to continue to move that energy to the outer edges of the heels. So now the outer edge of the foot all the way to the outer edges of the heels are energetically moving back in space. And now we're going to continue to move on in towards the center. So now I want you to think of hugging the inner heels and the inner edges of the feet towards each other. And what you might sense is a lift in the arches. And if you don't feel that, you're not doing anything wrong. Okay, and then we're going to continue to work that energy up along the body. So now I want you to begin to start to hug the inner thighs in towards the block. And this isn't an aggressive squeezing, the life out of the block. I want you to again envision this energy, this muscular energy from the outer hips and thighs all the way through the bone to the inner thigh. Okay, and then just stay here for a moment. And doing this work alone, you might start to feel some awareness waking up on the back of the legs, maybe even the front of the quads, okay? And I want you to keep all that work and all that energy in the lower half, and then I want you to bring your hands to your hips, kind of that bony protrusion on the front of the body. And I want you to envision hinging forward from the place where your pants will naturally crease when you sit down. So take a breath in. And then on the exhale, we're going to continue to draw the outer feet back, the inner heels hug in as well as the inner thighs. And we're going to keep squeezing that block as we hinge from the hips. The knees can be soft. And keep squeezing, keep squeezing. Maybe we even extend the arms behind us, make gentle fists, keep the spine long, crown of the head reaching forward. And then on the inhale, we're going to come back up. Keep squeezing, keep hugging that block in. And hopefully what you're noticing is some awareness on the back of the thighs, the hamstrings. Then come to standing, okay? So again, I'll show you from the side. We're going to think of the outer edges of the feet pulling back, inner edges of the feet hug in, the adductors, the inner thighs hug in. Hands can come to the hips or arms can extend behind us, and we hinge. Okay, so what, again, you may notice is your range of motion decreases here as we're resisting gravity. So the load that we're bearing is our own body weight, and then we lift up. And I don't know if you guys can hear it, but even in my breath, it's becoming a little more labored because my body's really working here. Now, some of you might be doing this and not feeling anything at all, okay? So what I would suggest is to raise the arm, just kind of up the ante a little bit. Now be careful that you're not letting the ribs and the chest take over and you're getting into lumbar flexion here. So you want the ribs to draw back in space, chest draws back, but the sternum lifts. Same thing, we hug that block in, inhale, and we hinge forward. Noticing that the hips and the pelvis don't dump back. Okay, so keeping the work in the hamstrings. Reaching to sensation, but also to a point where you don't lose stability or control. Woo, and come on back up. Good. And relax. So this is an exercise you can incorporate virtually in any yoga practice or standalone practice. You could incorporate it in whatever type of movement you do. If you guys like this video, please let me know, because there's a lot more I can add to it, a lot more hamstring exercises. So thank you for practicing, and let me know how it goes. Until next time, namaste.